Before the Great Pyramid, what if I told you the greatest pyramid wasn't the first but the third? Before Egypt mastered stone like no other civilization, one man dared to dream of reaching the sky, not with bronze or battle, but with brick and brilliance. His name was Sneferu, and he would teach Egypt how to build a legacy that would last forever. Around 2600 BCE, a new pharaoh took the throne. Sneferu, founder of Egypt's fourth dynasty, but unlike the warriors before him, Sneferu's greatness wasn't measured in conquest. It would rise from stone. He had a vision, a tomb not hidden underground, but one that reached toward the heavens. And so he began the most ambitious building campaign Egypt had ever seen. But how do you build eternity? Sneferu's first attempt stood at Meidum, a grand step pyramid, towering, bold, and unprecedented. But something went wrong. The core cracked, the outer layers collapsed. What was meant to be eternal crumbled into ruin. Most kings would have stopped, but Sneferu, he studied the failure. And Egypt learned. At Dashur, Sneferu tried again. This time the walls rose sharply, too sharply. Halfway through, cracks formed. The engineers made a bold decision. Change the angle, save the project. The result, a strange, beautiful bend. Was it a mistake? Maybe. But in that bend lies brilliance, the moment Egypt learned to adapt, to think in stone. Finally, Sneferu built the Red Pyramid. No more steps, no more collapse. Just smooth sides, graceful geometry, pure symmetry. This was Egypt's first true pyramid, a masterpiece in red limestone. It became the blueprint for every pyramid to come, including the Great Pyramid itself. But Sneferu wasn't just a builder. He opened trade routes across the Red Sea. He mined turquoise and copper in Sinai. He built ships, encouraged learning. He ruled with vision and with heart. Unlike later pharaohs who ruled by fear, Sneferu was loved. Centuries later, Egyptians still called him the Good King, the king who built not just pyramids, but peace. Sneferu transformed Egypt. He turned death into architecture, stone into language, dreams into monuments. He laid the foundation, not just of pyramids, but of Egyptian civilization. And his legacy would rise even higher through the hands of his son. Next time, the sun rises, and with him, the greatest wonder the ancient world would ever see, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Which of Sneferu's pyramids do you think was the most impressive? Meidum, the bent, or the red? Tell us in the comments. And if you're enjoying Egypt's epic rise, give us a like and share with fellow history lovers. The desert whispered again, a beacon not only for mortals, but for the gods. Before the sands of time buried the secrets of the pharaohs, one man's vision changed the course of history. His name echoes through the ages, carried on the winds that sweep across the Nile Valley, Sneferu, the pharaoh who taught Egypt to build. As the sun rises over the ancient land, casting long shadows across the dunes, we journey back to a time when Egypt was still learning the language of stone. Before the Great Pyramid cast its imposing silhouette against the sky, there was a king who dared to dream bigger than any who came before. Sneferu ascended to the throne around 2600 BCE, inheriting a kingdom rich in tradition but yearning for innovation. While his predecessors had built their legacies through conquest and expansion, Sneferu saw a different path to immortality. He would reach for the heavens, not with spears and chariots, but with limestone and copper chisels. But how does one build eternity? The answer, as Sneferu would discover, lay in trial and error, in persistence, and in the willingness to learn from failure. His first attempt at Meidum stands today as a testament to ambition and a lesson in humility. Rising from the desert floor, this early step pyramid promised to be a wonder of the ancient world. Yet as the structure grew taller, unseen forces conspired against it. The core, unable to bear the weight of Sneferu's dreams, began to crack. The outer layers, once smooth and gleaming, peeled away like the skin of an overripe fruit. What was meant to be a monument to eternity became instead a crumbling ruin, a whisper of what might have been. Lesser kings might have abandoned their quest, content to rest on the laurels of past glories. But Sneferu was not a lesser king. He studied the ruins of Meidum, gleaning wisdom from its fallen stones, and in that moment of reflection, Egypt learned. The desert whispered its secrets, and Sneferu listened. Undeterred, the pharaoh set his sights on Dashur. Here, amidst the shifting sands, he would attempt to build again. The walls of his new pyramid rose sharply, reaching for the sky with an eagerness that bordered on hubris. But halfway through construction, the telltale signs of stress appeared once more. Cracks spiderwebbed across the surface, threatening to undo all of Sneferu's hard-won progress. Yet in this moment of crisis, brilliance was born. The engineers, guided by Sneferu's unwavering vision, made a decision that would change the course of architectural history. They altered the angle, easing the pyramid's ascent towards the heavens. The result was a structure unlike any seen before or since. The bent pyramid, with its distinctive silhouette, stands as a monument to adaptability, to the power of learning from one's mistakes. Was it hubris or the cost of innovation? Perhaps it was both, a necessary step on the path to perfection. But Sneferu was not content to rest on his laurels. The bent pyramid, for all its unique beauty, was still not the realization of his grand vision. And so, with the knowledge gained from 2 ambitious attempts, he embarked on his greatest project yet. The red pyramid rose from the sands of Dashur, its smooth sides gleaming in the Egyptian sun. No more steps, no more bends. This was geometry made manifest, symmetry given form in red limestone. At last, Sneferu had created Egypt's first true pyramid, a blueprint that would inspire generations of pharaohs to come. Yet Sneferu's legacy extends far beyond the monuments he built. He was a king who understood that true greatness lies not just in stone, but in the hearts of his people. He opened trade routes across the Red Sea, bringing wealth and new ideas to his kingdom. The turquoise and copper mines of Sinai flourished under his rule, their bounty enriching Egypt and fueling further innovation. Ships bearing his name sailed the Nile and beyond, carrying not just goods, but knowledge. For Sneferu was a patron of learning as much as he was a builder of monuments. Under his reign, scribes recorded the wisdom of the ages, preserving it for generations yet unborn. And perhaps most remarkably, in an age often characterized by tyranny and fear, Sneferu ruled with compassion. The people of Egypt did not cower before him but loved him, calling him the good king long after his passing. He built not just pyramids, but a legacy of peace and prosperity that would echo through the centuries. In Sneferu, we see the birth of Egypt as we know it. He transformed death into an art form, turning the afterlife into a canvas upon which to paint dreams of eternity. Stone became a language through which pharaohs could speak to the gods and to posterity. And in the sweat and toil of countless workers, in the precise calculations of brilliant engineers, dreams became monuments. Sneferu laid the foundation not just for the pyramids that would follow, but for Egyptian civilization itself. He showed that greatness could be achieved not through conquest alone, but through vision, perseverance, and the courage to learn from failure. And yet, as grand as Sneferu's achievements were, they were but a prelude to what was to come. For his legacy would rise even higher through the hands of his son, a man whose name would become synonymous with the greatest wonder of the ancient world. As the sun sets on Sneferu's reign, casting long shadows across his magnificent creations, We look to the horizon. There, silhouetted against the fading light, we can almost see the outline of an even grander structure taking shape. Next time, we will witness the rise of the sun, and with him, the birth of a wonder that would define an entire civilization. The Great Pyramid of Giza awaits, its mysteries calling to us across the millennia. But before we turn our gaze to the future, let us pause to reflect on the man who made it all possible. Sneferu, the teacher of kings, the dreamer of impossible dreams. His story reminds us that greatness is not achieved in a single bound, but through persistence, through learning, and through the courage to reach for the sky even when the ground beneath our feet seems uncertain. Which of Sneferu's pyramids do you think best embodies his legacy? The ambition of Meidum, the adaptability of the bent pyramid, or the perfection of the red pyramid? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join us as we continue our journey through the epic rise of ancient Egypt. For in these ancient stones, in the whispers of the desert wind, we find not just the story of a civilization long past, but reflections of our own dreams, our own struggles, and our own quest for immortality. Subscribe now and let us build bridges across time, one king, one story, one stone at a time. For in understanding our past, we illuminate the path to our future. The desert awaits, its secrets calling. Will you answer?